I perform a good number of weddings here, and I have a good number of wedding stories. But maybe the most humorous and heartwarming happened about a week ago. I was on Longboat Key Beach getting ready to perform a wedding, and it was a nice little group of 75 or 80 people. And as they do for many beach weddings, there was a DJ who came to provide the music during the ceremony, and he brought with him a portable sound system. Quite often, when people bring those sound systems out to the beach, electricity isn't accessible, so they have battery-powered sound systems. Well, in this case, this DJ had a better idea. He had an electric sound system, but he decided that he would power it with a portable generator. So, which was a good idea, and he set the generator a couple of 100 feet away from the actual wedding site with a very long extension cord so the noise wouldn't bother the wedding party. And I got there and the prelude music was playing and everything was set up beautifully, the chairs and the arch and everything. And and the attendants started to come down, and about the middle of Pachelbel's Cannon, the generator started to sputter. And so the guy that ran the sound system, the sound tech, who was a little overweight and a little out of shape, he got up and he ran about 200 yards across to the other side of the beach where the generator was, and he cranks it up, and with a sigh of relief it started up, and he went back, and the music started, and we got the wedding attendants down, and then the mother of the bride started to go down, and the thing starts to sputter again. So he runs another couple of 100 yards, and by this time he's just about sweating. He makes it back, he gets the thing started, and finally everybody's in place, and now the bride is about 100 yards away on the boardwalk with her father, ready to make her grand entrance. And the music starts. Here comes the bride, and she takes the first few steps, and the thing starts to sputter. And he gets up, and he runs over there, and by this time he's really huffing and puffing. I mean, he's, and everybody, I'm getting a little nervous at this point. And so he cranks it up, he gets a couple of good cranks on the thing, and it starts up, and then it stops. And then it starts up and it stops. And I can see the look of terror on this bride's face from 200 yards away, because she's wondering now if she's going to get married. I mean, there's no here comes the bride. She and her dad can't walk down. And so he's cranking and he's sweating away. And so finally one of the guests walks over, and he was a big burly guy, and you could tell he knew machines. Some men in their machines, it's like, I'll take care of this, So he goes over there and he dinks around with a choke or something, and he cranks it a few times, and the thing starts up, and the sound guy runs back over one last time. He's barely able to make it over on this last time. And in a moment of kind of comic relief, everybody claps, and the music then starts, and here comes the bride, and she and her dad walk down. But once the really neat thing about this was that once the wedding started, it was one of those very deep and touching moments. It really was. When the bride and the groom are so engaged in each other, I mean, it was as if there was no one else in the world but those two people. It's just like you are every day with your husband and wife. You're just so engaged and engrossed in each other. One of those deep and touching moments where they just were so locked and engaged with each other, and we had the ceremony, and it was beautiful, and then one of those golden longboat key sunsets, almost as if kissed by God, that final benediction, and it was just a beautiful moment. But sometimes those sublime and sacred moments shine even more brightly when they take place in the shadow of the ridiculous. Sometimes the most poignant moments in life, the deepest moments of truth, shine most brightly against the backdrop of human folly and frailty and absurdity and even brokenness. Father Edwin Martin died last week. Happened to read his obit in the New York Times. The good father's personal battle with alcoholism inspired him to be a national leader in the fight against the disease. And interestingly, when he started his work, alcoholism was not seen as a disease, but an evil. But Father Martin spoke of alcoholism as a sickness, not an evil. He's best remembered for his customary welcome to each troubled patient at the treatment center he started. As each person came in, as he greeted them, he would say, "The nightmare is over." And for those of you who have been there or know someone who has, you know what a nightmare it can be. And to hear those words, what a blessing. The nightmare is over. Well, Father Martin often used humor in discussing alcoholism. One of his favorite stories, he told of a police officer who saw a drunk with a penguin, and he told the drunk to take the penguin to the zoo where it belonged. Well, the next day he saw the same drunk with the same penguin, and he said, "I thought I told you to take that penguin to the zoo." And he said, "I did, and he enjoyed it so much that tomorrow we're going to the library." Speaking of library, did you hear about the drunk who wandered into the library? He walked up to the front desk, and he yells at the clerk, "Give me a cheeseburger, French fries, and a large Coke." And in a kind of disgusting way, she said, "Sir, this is a library." And so he said, "Give me a cheeseburger, French fries, and a large Coke." That was a blonde joke, by the way. But